What is Osu even about anyways? Okay, I know everyone that plays Osu knows that it's a rhythm game where you click circles to the beat, or the one game you play to get your aim better at Fortnite.
Another day, another victory for the OG, taking down the sweats, the imposters among us.
But besides from the core mechanic of how you play, what is Osu even about? For example, let's compare Osu to other rhythm games. The first rhythm game that I played growing up was Deemo, an indie rhythm game developed by Ryak. The game features beautiful pieces of music and story cutscenes that gradually become available as you play the game. I won't spoil the lore, but I do encourage everyone to play through Deemo. It's an amazing game. Anyways, the cutscenes that you unlock throughout the game actually build into a story revolving around Deemo, the mascot character that you see at the start of the game, and the fallen girl that fell into his castle out of nowhere. The story progresses around the fallen girl's character and eventually reaches a happy yet bittersweet ending. Another popular rhythm game made by Ryak during this time period is called Cytus. The story of Cytus is carried through its 10 main chapters, as well as a prologue. The story is told in-game through various cutscenes that are unique to the chapter title songs. Individual songs within each chapter are at most only marginally relevant to the plot, except for a limited few. The plot features the disasters, and the protagonists struggle with identity. Identity Part 4. Get it? That's like an Osu reference. Okay, so these two rhythm games from the same company got lore attached to it. So what's the point? See, Osu is without a doubt a competitive game, evidently by the countless amount of ongoing tourneys hosted on weekends every single week. With the addition of high-profile tourneys like Corsairs or the Osu World Cup, or the tourney that Moist Critical hosted for Osu twice.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
However, it is noteworthy to acknowledge a different player base, that is, the people that play for fun, aka casual players. A lot of Osu players can be a little too absorbed in their own rank climb. To realize that a separate demographic of players actually exists in the community, the people that don't play for rank and just play to enjoy the game. Or the interactions they get within the game. So what does lore have to do with any of this? It's simple. Osu Laser is close to a quote-unquote completion status, and this is huge news, not only for the competitive side of Osu, but also for the casual side, given that Laser has so many fun and unique mods. This also ties into my previous video about the underutilization of Pippi, in such that Osu doesn't really utilize any kind of lore to its advantage. The closest thing that comes to being lore in the Osu community comes in the form of Hush Hush medals, featuring Easter eggs that require specific set of solutions to complete. Some of them are so convoluted, but the medal hunters still manage to achieve it anyways. One set of Hush Hush medals stand out, being the medal that you can get for passing any past OWC tiebreakers, offering something close to lore that represents the history of the Osu World Cup, but that's it. There also exists a fan-made Osu manga called the Osu Combat Championship, created by VTX and Neil, however you say his name, I'm probably butchering it, with a storyline revolving around top players like Amrek and Whitecat, and the competition in a tournament for a grand prize. You might say, but Barry, Osu is a rhythm game, there's no need for lore. The casual players can just farm medals. You're just mad you're a hard-stuck 5-digit. Okay, but if you want the game to grow, to appeal to more people, and not just PP farmers crying on Twitter about their favorite farm maps getting disqualified, you need to appeal to the casual player base more. And it leaves an impact on the game history, aka a story that people can tie to the game. If Osu were to have lore and cutscenes that were tied to the game, I think it would go something like this. All lore maps will come bundled in a collection, and Pippi, as your in-game assistant, will pop out from the side and also will give you the tutorial. This entire thing will also act as a tutorial. And she tells you something along the line of, check out these historic maps to witness the history of Osu. The first map would be, of course, the tutorial, being New Beginnings by Nekodex. I consider this to be the real tutorial because of how well made it is. No flame to Peppi's original tutorial. This then triggers a short illustration of Peppi prepping Osu to be launched for the PC systems back in 2007. Baby Cruising Love, covered by Peppi to portray his love for the game, evidently by the fact that the game's been running for like what, almost 17 years? You and Owen was her to symbolize Osu's first impossible map. It also has a lot of views on YouTube, and if you search up Osu, besides short, that's where you will see the video. Can't Defeat Airman to tell the story of how Osu players of old, of the ancient, of the Stone Ages, had to face the first raid boss, Airman, the Big Black, to instill fear to those who aren't good enough at the game, and proposes a challenge for those who aren't afraid of the Big Black. Freedom Dive to symbolize the game's carefree environment back then, and everyone's harmonic awe at the Osu legend himself, Cookiezi, Tsukinami, and Road of Resistance to highlight the race to the 1000 PP barrier between Vaxei and Idki. Who could forget such an important moment in Osu history where a major PP barrier was broken? I have to include Color's Power by Logoff now because it is the map that changed the course of Osu history, because that is the map that Emmerich set a 900 on to become the #1 in the world, overtaking White Cat's dominance over almost 2 years, and he is still #1 to this day at the recording of this video. And who could forget Raise My Sword for those who try to raise their sword and their PP in this moment like this. And so on. Little tidbits of Osu history in those bundled maps to etch into history of what this game and his community has managed to accomplish while giving homage to legendary figures throughout the game's lifespan. We miss you, Ryuichi. Besides all the needless drama and controversies, this game has managed to somehow overcome all of his adversaries and grew to the extent that it has. So I think incorporating some sort of lore into the game might not be a bad idea. Osu has a really rich history, and it will continue to grow, outliving mankind's impending doom in the next millennia or so. And I think that's pretty cool. Oh wait, that's a wrong channel. This was a pretty fun project to make. If you're still here, thank you for watching. Until then, I'll see you next time.